Hey, Arvind, great to see you.
Hi, Joe. Great to see you too. Nice to be here.
For our viewers who may not be familiar with SuperOps, tell us a little bit about the company overall and your role at the company.
Perfect. Yeah. So we are SuperOps.ai. We are a integrated PSA and RMM platform with a pinch of AI in the platform. So that's how I put it. And we are new to the market. We've been in the market for 2 years, still in beta, building the platform right from the scratch. It's unified platform built from the scratch. And we are not new to the space. Both me and my co-founder have been in this space for almost 17 years, building products in the IT. And we also had one of the edition of products in the MSP space back in 2012. So when I decided to start again, I wanted to come back to IT, bring the learnings what I had in the IT space to MSP, and build a product which actually bring both these worlds together. So that's when SuperOps came into existence. So we are trying to build a product which not only is going to be easy to use, it's going to be on cloud, but we want to bring in this newer technology to the space, and the market is also evolving, and we want to be in the space with AI and workflow automations as a differentiator. So that's SuperOps. And about me, yeah, I am the CEO and co-founder of SuperOps.ai, and I call myself, my role here is to do everything. Sometimes when the engineers are coding, I bring them coffee. And if I had to talk to investors and take care of them, so I do everything. I am in every brick of SuperOps. That's my role.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again. And I've always enjoyed my conversations with the company and with you. And I think as we continue educating our viewership and listeners and readers, here's some basic questions. Have you developed this code from scratch, or did you go out and acquire code? Now, I already know the answer, but I think a lot of MSPs are always curious. Was this acquired? Was it homegrown? How is the software written?
It's all built from the scratch. As I said, the whole team. So we are almost a 50-member team now. Half the team is from Freshworks, half the team is from Zoho. People who have built the product, name it the monitoring side, the RMM side, or the PSA, the help desk side. The engineers and the product guys have experience building help desk software all their life and monitoring software all their life. So this is like the third time they are building something similar to this. So they know it back of their head. So everything has been, every single code has been built from the scratch. Nothing is acquired, nothing is borrowed. Everything is built from scratch, unified as a platform.
Okay. All right. So when we began this podcast, you had mentioned the word beta. So I just want to clarify, you and I are speaking on December 8th, 2021. If I'm an MSP, can I purchase this subscription service now, or is it in beta or alpha? Where is it in terms of the availability?
Right. So we actually are open. So the idea for, in my opinion, we want to get out of beta when we are really, really strong and we are comfortable, where all my customers love already. So we have almost around 40 customers right now using our product. Few are paying for it, few are using it free in exchange for testimonials, and they work closely with our product teams for feedback and building. It's basically co-building the product. So the reason why I'm still in beta is we are integrating with all the ecosystem players. So we want to go with all integration so that you don't miss out on any features. So the concept of minimal viable product is not there in MSP world, right? We are going after a red ocean market where this space has been there for 25 years. So what I told to my team here is, we're not building an MVP. We are building a ready product. We are going to go to market with a sellable product. So we have bundled 5 different products in a single platform: project management, RMM, IT documentation, PSA, all this bundled together as a single product, and with patch management. And top of all this, we have an AI layer. We are much more superior than a lot of existing players in the market now. So we'll be ready soon, and we'll be ready to go to market. And for your question, yes, you can use it, give feedback, or you can also buy right away if you want.
Okay, great. Now, listen, our viewers are very familiar with the software markets that you mentioned: RMM, PSA, documentation, etc. I think our viewers are also very curious about artificial intelligence in that everyone claims to be doing it, but no one's quite sure which vendor is doing what when it comes to AI. So from your vantage point, how do you describe AI and the value you're going to bring there on the software platform? How does it work?
Perfect. Right. See, I always believe that we need to first crawl, walk, and then run. Right.
Mhm.
The same analogy for AI. You don't jump into AI on day one. Right. First, you need to get the infrastructure ready for AI. Like if you're not in cloud, you go to cloud first. Right. So second, you get to automations where you see how you can automate most of the activities which you're already doing it manually. So that's not AI. It's basically you automate most of your activities, your job, what you do in your. The next step is you use AI to get data. That gives then the data requires time. The machine learning requires a lot of data to consume and give you insights. Then finally, the insights becomes predictive intelligence, right?
Mhm.
There are a lot of stages in AI. You don't jump from moving to cloud to predictive intelligence, right? So if somebody comes and tells you, I'm going to sell you an AI software, don't believe them. AI takes time, right?
Right.
You need data crunching, you need machine learning, you need insight, and then predictive intelligence comes into it. So the way we started is we have bundled the product with a lot of automations, which we have learned from many other companies which are in the IT space, like Rippling Software and so on. We borrowed all those interesting functionalities from other SaaS companies, bundled that in SuperOps AI, and to be honest, we are just releasing our first AI feature, which is going to give you data. That is the intelligent alerting. It is going to just, you don't have to set alerts and alarms to know what's happening in the network. It automatically tells you these are the three anomalies you need to go work on. The next stage is when this predictive intelligence comes in after it analyzes the mission, analyzes what happens, it gives you insight saying that, hey, that mission might go down anytime soon. So you have to work on it, right?
Mhm.
So we are still in the stage two, automation and some data related AI features. And we will build more and more features that requires time and requires machine learning. So only when more and more users use the product, I would say we are 100% AI company. We are not AI company, and also the market is not ready for it now. We need to show the value of AI. That's when people will adopt as well.
Got it. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about market trends and what you're seeing out in the industry, whether it's the MSPs, the MSP end customers, maybe it's the MSP software market, you tell me. So, but overall market trends, and then what that means in terms of your research and development, or maybe the way you go to market with MSPs. Are there any key trends that you saw throughout 2021 where you started fine-tuning what you were up to?
Yeah, I think you would have got tired hearing this answer. Pandemic, right? You know
Yeah.
what pandemic did to us is basically it accelerated a lot of our technology adoption. So I'm going to again break it down into three folds here. The today's world, though the pandemic is almost we are at the end of the pandemic, a lot of changes are going to stay there forever, right?
Mhm.
A lot of companies are still adopting distributed workforce. Remote working is a new normal, right? Somebody who's been in Detroit is now sitting in Hawaii and he's expecting the IT guys to go and fix their laptops, right? So this brings newer challenges, right? So I would want to break the accessibility as one challenge, security as other challenge. And to be honest, and you and I both know, in MSP space, the cloud adoption is still in progress. It's not like we have completely got the cloud. I know it's the basic fundamental answer, but the cloud adoption is still there, right? So I would break it down into three stages. One is cloud adoption, which is going to help in a lot of way in security as well and accessibility. And the second comes the security part. Again, security, long way to go. It's a huge topic to discuss, but AI can help us in security. Like it can be as simple as facial recognition or making sure that hackers don't get access to your data. AI is going to help you in making the security tighten as well, right? So the three answers are automation, which I already touched upon automation, which is eventually going to become AI. It's all like a cob of web. It's all interlinked to each other. But if you ask me to point to three trends, I would say cloud adoption, automation and AI, and security would be the three major areas which our team is focusing on right now.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? They're multipliers too, aren't they? It's not that 1 + 1 = 3. It's 1 + 1 + 1 equals who knows the answer in terms of where we may go here. It is an exciting time. Um, so here's another naive question for you. When people hear, or let me not refer to MSPs. I'll refer to myself as a blogger and a media guy. Sometimes as a blogger and a media guy, I'm guilty of thinking of certain RMM or IT management tools for the enterprise. Others might be for the mid-market. Others might be for small business. Similar with ticketing systems. Some are for the enterprise. Some PSA is for small business, et cetera. Workflow management, the same. As you think about what you're developing, is there a sweet spot MSP that you're trying to engage, or do you see as something your platform SuperOps is something that can scale up or scale down regardless of MSP size?
Yeah. So our sweet spot would be small and medium businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So in fact, we have a free edition where if you are a new MSP, you don't want to pay, you can just use our free edition and get started with a fully loaded platform, a PSA, RMM, everything. If you're one technician, you can just get started with it. So new MSPs, we welcome them to use our product. And then our sweet spot is somewhere between 0 to 10 or 0 to 20 agent MSPs, where you manage around 1,000 endpoints. So that's the kind of companies we target right now. The reason why we start bottom up is we know for a fact that this is a large market, and there are so many features which we need to build. And again, there will always be a feature catch-up, feature parity we need to do in the market, but you don't need a fighter jet to start your MSP business, right? You need a passenger flight to just take from one place to other, right? So we built you with really cool, sleek features. Like most of the SaaS, and my experience of 20 years in the SaaS, people don't use the 100% functionalities of SaaS, right? So we give you what is really needed, which you will use end to end, and then we want to scale up the market. Again, we are not going to target enterprise. We might scale up to mid-market.
Okay. All right, great. Most of our viewers are US, but on the other hand, we've got quite a few in Europe. We've got quite a few in Australia, Asia, Pacific, et cetera. Are you building out localized versions let's not start with localized versions, localized instances. Are there instances in each of the areas so that the MSPs can be compliant with local data requirements? Or are you just starting in one maybe region as you build out the company?
Brilliant question. So what we did is from day one, we are a completely SaaS application built on top of AWS. And we have local servers managing the data. We are already abiding GDPR and all these policies and everything, so that the data doesn't leave the respective country or the continent. And initial days, we want to address all English-speaking nation, just so that we address US, UK, Australia, India, and all English-speaking countries. Later, we will do localization and do language translations and so on. So for the next 2022, we are going to focus only on English-speaking markets.
Okay. All right, great. Tell me a little bit more about how MSPs can get started with you in terms of, is it as simple as just signing up for a SaaS subscription and they're off and running? And do they choose a particular application in the platform, or do they turn on everything? I mean, how are your first adopters moving in with you?
One other thing which I want to do in this space is to bring transparency and like complete freedom to try out the product and make a right decision, right? So we have free trial. You don't need to reach out to any of our sales or support or pre-sales guy. You can just go to our website, SuperOps.ai, sign up. No credit cards required. Just give your email address. That too, we have
no friction. No friction.
And the reason why we ask for an email address is not to do a sales call. We give free 24/7 support, even during your trial, even for our free customers. So what we want to say is, try our product. You don't believe us, you don't have to believe us. Try our product, try it for 21 days. If you want an extension, we'll give it to you, no question asked. Try it only if you like it and you go ahead and purchase it. So as simple as it is. And if you need a demo, if you need our solutions engineer to implement the product, everything is free of cost.
Very, very interesting. Yeah, I think the the no friction strategy is super important in the MSP market, no doubt. So I'll be watching to see how that plays out. A very, very interesting strategy you got there. Tell me a little bit more about your priorities for 2022. I mean, what do you see as the key things SuperOps has to focus on, and the things you'll do for MSPs in 2022?
So I would want to start out by educating the market a bit, right? So sometimes I also think that the space is going through an evolution. IT market has evolved. People are expecting a lot of AI and automations, and we kind of serve to the IT. Your customers are IT, and MSP space is still a long way to go to catch up with the IT space. So we need to educate the market on how that market has evolved, and we need to bring in automations, educate. People get scared away with AI. So I want to educate how we need to equip ourselves as an AI company, right? Even the MSPs. So sometimes they think that, hey, AI is a luxury feature for me. I'm still not in cloud yet. I have a long way to go to AI. That's the first answer I get when I speak to MSPs. And I want to educate the market saying that, hey, AI is going to bring you more revenue. AI is going to make you much more efficient. You can rather invest in AI than investing in other things, right? It's going to make you more money and it's going to save you a lot of time. So we need to educate the market. So we are going to invest in educating the market, how to equip MSPs in selling better, how to equip themselves to use AI as a selling point, right? The market has evolved, and it's time MSPs have to evolve. If not, they're going to be left behind with new age MSPs taking business away from them. So that's going to be our priority.
Got it. Okay. Final question. If I'm an MSP watching this or listening to it or checking out the blog that accompanies this, where do I go as a first step or a next step in terms of engaging SuperOps AI and learning more?
So as I said, it's all on the website, SuperOps.ai. You have free trial, no credit cards, no questions asked. Try the product. If you want more time, reach out to us. If you want it to be implemented, you want a demo, you want to walk through, you want to talk to our product manager, you can just ping us and we'll be there for you.
Fantastic. Well, Arvind, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Joe.